another week. Most of us are going back to work tomorrow. And yeah, what a holiday. um, I don't know, I've observed a lot of relationships falling apart over this last week or so. It's not nice to see. And, it's probably because of fighting most of the time. People get angry at each other, things get said, and bang, end of the relationship. So, how important is fighting really? If you if you're the one fighting, your partner doesn't do something you want them to do, or um, whatever the reason might be, or they don't want to go where you want to go, and so forth. Is it really important to fight about it? Can't you just talk, ask, be decent? But a lot of times the problem is what I've seen that lately is alcohol. Um, and yeah, it's a festive season, that's what happens. So you have to ask yourself, if you're going to be with somebody, you love that person. Now, if you love somebody, is it necessary to fight all the time, or is it necessary to win? You gotta fight because you want to win the fight. You want to be right. You have to get your point across, and that's apparently important too. But why? If you're gonna get into the habit of fighting over everything all the time, your relationships is gonna fall apart. Your partner's gonna be hurt, and that's gonna be the end of their relationship. It's straightforward. That's what's gonna happen. That's where most of the hurt comes from, is from fighting. You don't have to fight. You don't have to, win the fight even. If you love your partner, just give it up. You don't have to fight. Just leave the fighting. If you feel they're unreasonable, if it's really important for you to win, not really. How long are you going to be fighting for? And obviously there's a problem. Obviously there's a difference of opinion, or whatever the case may be, but you can talk about it. And in any loving relationship, or any healthy relationship, you should be able to talk about anything anyway. You don't have to be right or wrong, because remember one thing: if you once you fight, there's no winner. Not you, not your partner. There's just no winner. You both lose, because you lose something that's very important to you. I hope. Otherwise, if it's your partner continuously fighting with you, because that also happens, I do know that. I've been through that. And then you gotta look at counseling. Go try the love day if you have to. And if your partner just doesn't want to give it up, and they're just continuously fighting, and everything has to be a fight, and you're stupid, and you're an idiot, and you're all kinds of stuff, well, you might have to reconsider the relationship then. It sounds harsh, but you gotta ask yourself, are you gonna spend your life fighting? Are you gonna fight for everything? And what's the purpose of it? Why do you want to fight? Why do you want to hurt all the time? If your partner hurts you like that, and talking didn't help, and therapy didn't help, well, maybe it's time to give it up. I know it's not always that easy. Sometimes we love somebody so much that we will allow them to abuse us, to keep fighting with us. It's not worth it. Trust me, it's not worth it. You're just going to spend your life like that, and you're going to fall apart all the time, and you're going to be miserable all the time, and ultimately you won't have a life. You won't enjoy anything in your life. If you have children, even worse, because now the children are learning that this is what relationships are about. I've seen that before, where you know kids grow older, and when once they're in a relationship, they're either distant or they fighting or whatever they do, but they're mimicking their parents. They copying what they saw from their parents. And why would you love your kids, don't you? So why would you want to teach your kids not to love? I didn't, I suppose, today, so not impressed, because that's exactly what happens. We copy from our parents. We try and that was, I was just cross, so forgive me for getting upset, but that's something a bit close to home for me. I don't I don't like that at all, because remember, once you get married, it's you and your spouse. You make a promise to God. You promise to love one another, and so why is it so important that you keep your parents happy? Yes, you honor your parents. Yes, you love your parents. But husband and wife, come on, get your priorities right. Um, that is sacred, and you that it's in your vows. It's the way marriage works. Once you walk out of home, and you're no longer a child in your parents' house. Not that you don't have to listen to them, you still respect them and things, but there's no space for your parents in your marriage from either side. It doesn't work like that, not at all. And for the parents on the group that has got older children that's married and things like that, let them be. You can advise gently if you can, but don't come with things with you gotta leave him, you gotta leave her, things like that. I've been in situations like that before, and I would, be it friends, be it family or something, I would listen. I would at least listen to what they have to say, but it's not their place. And so I just thank them. If it's meant well, I'll thank them, but I'm not going to get influenced by anyone external to my relationship. It doesn't work like that. It's between you and your partner. This is your relationship. This is where you promised one another that we will love each other. We will work hard. I mean, come on, it's so sweet. Listen to all the music, all the words, all the, love stuff. That's what we want, don't we? That's why we got married. That's why we got into these relationships, because we want to love. We want to love the person. But what do you see out there? Fighting. People fight. They fight over everything, the smallest thing, the biggest thing. They just keep on fighting until there's nothing left. A relationship, and that's stupid. It's absolutely stupid to fight like that. I do acknowledge, I know there's abusive people out there, there's bad people out there, and people controlling their partners. I don't even want to use that word. So, manipulating, people doing all kinds of wrong things, and they would manipulate their partners into getting what they want. So, well, then you find yourself in a bad relationship. Yes, life goes wrong, and there's reasons for every argument. There's reasons for every fight. Find out what the reason is, and talk about it. That's the only way it's going to get sorted out. You're not going to sort it out by fighting. You're not going to sort it out by telling the person, even proving to the person that they are wrong. It's just going to trigger another fight. You're just not going to stop fighting. You have to sit down. You have to talk. One nice thing I have personally done as well that works very well is take a Sunday afternoon, maybe after lunch or after a nap or something like that. Then get the family together. Get the kids, get the wife, husband, whoever. Get everybody together in the lounge and have a little session, a little chat. Um, every week another person can bring up the topic, whatever that might be, that you as a family can talk about. How's the family doing? How's the relationships doing? If you don't have kids, you and your partner can do that. Set time aside, half an hour or so. Just sit down, have a chat. What happened this week? Are we all happy? Is there any issues? And talk about it. I've been through relationships myself, and something that really makes you think as a parent is when one of your children speaks up on a day like that and says to you, Mom, Dad, whatever, I don't like you fighting. That really is not a nice thing to experience, but it makes you think. And that's the whole purpose of something like that. To get everybody involved. And once you start seeing and realizing that your fighting is hurting your kids, that you can start looking at it a bit differently. You shouldn't be fighting in front of kids anyway. I've been guilty of it. It happens, but it's not the right way. It's not how it should be. So that's maybe an idea. If you in the heat of the moment, you can't always sit down and talk. If you're at the pub or the club or something and somebody got you angry, it's maybe not the best place to try and have that conversation. So then you have to maybe just consider, just leave it. It's not important. You know what's going to happen. You get your drama queens and probably kings as well. But some people want attention, and fighting is their game. So I've seen that in really weird ways, that somebody would just be determined to fight, wanting to fight. It's sad. It's not a nice thing to see. But that comes from upbringing, how people were raised, and some people just don't know how to have a relationship. They just don't know how to love. They probably never been loved correctly, and that is not nice to see. It's really sad. But anyway, so I think for this week, try not to fight. There's going to be pressure this week. People are going back to work. I think I don't have children at home anymore, so I assume that the kids will be at home, parents will go back to work. So tonight you get home, mom and dad is tired, and the kids made a mess. So a few names come up in my mind, and I'm like, yeah, I can already see mom or dad coming home tomorrow afternoon. Yeah, good luck. Yeah, it's fun, it's beautiful, it's family. So maybe it's a good time to just in the morning just tell them, you know what, this is what I expect when I get home. And they're probably not going to listen, or only half of it will be done. You know it. But it's our children, so as long as they don't burn down the place, I guess it's fine. But yes, that's family, and we had to love one another. That's why we got married, that's why we had kids. And it starts with you and your partner. Do it right. Love one another. Talk. I mean, there's no reason to fight. Just talk, because if you're gonna carry on fighting, you might as well just leave it. You might as well just Get divorced. Tell the lawyers you're fighting. They're gonna love you for it. They're gonna even make you fight more. Trust me. Being there. And but that's just it, if people can talk, that is the most important thing. Unless it's me, because I'm gonna make your ears bleed. Trust me, I will. But I'm working on it. I try. But no, it's not worth fighting people. It's not worth just being angry all the time, miserable, moody. It's not worth it. If you're being abused, or you have an abusive partner that wants to fight all the time, well, let them know. Let them realize, this is gonna end bad if it carries on like that. And they'll probably blow up about that as well. Let them know. You don't have to win. You don't have to make them realize or believe that they're wrong or anything like that. It's not important. If you have an abusive partner and they need to fight all the time and they need to put you down, then, well, then they probably have to leave the relationship. There's some severe cases out there. I don't even want to go in that direction, because it's physical abuse or something. Leave it. Walk away. Because a lot of people, with some personality disorders and some people's backgrounds and substance abuse, the list carries on. You're not going to fix that person. Don't even try. And we're not there to fix our partners anyway. You're supposed to love the person for who they are, as they are. But that doesn't mean that the person has the right to abuse you, to hurt you, or anything like that. It just means, within reason, you love the person for who they are. If somebody likes gardening and your partner likes gardening and you don't, well, find something else to do. Let them garden. Let them, that's normal. That's acceptable. But I guess if your partner loves gambling and they're gambling all the money away, maybe you don't want to love the person for who they are. That is understandable, because then it does harm, and there's going to be fighting, and the fighting will lead to the end of the relationship. It's that simple. But love is worth fighting for. It's worth to try not to fight. If you have gotten into the habit of fighting and you fight quite often, put a stop to it. Find out what's wrong. Find out what the problem is. If you love your partner and they love you, you will be able to sit down. But like I say, not in the heat of the moment. It's difficult, especially if you try not to fight anymore and you try and get out of that habit. When something goes wrong, it's probably not going to be easy to sit down and then talk. You're going to have to practice that. And in order to practice that, make time for it. Schedule a time for it. When we are all calm and happy, and like I say, Sunday afternoon is a good time for that. And even Sunday morning. But whenever, when you can get your partner, you and your partner get together, if it's kids, get everybody. Involve everybody. And then discuss whatever needs to be discussed. If there's been fighting over something, discuss it as a family, or as a couple. Talk about it. But you have to schedule time for it. You can't just always be able to do that. It's not going to be easy, especially when there's emotions involved, or like I say, if it's just the environment or circumstances aren't necessarily good for it at that point or at that point. So if you're upset and you feel the need to fight, just take a time out. Surely it can't be that important to fight. As I say, I do understand in some cases there's serious problems, and people would fight. If there's like cheating or something like that happened, yeah, I do understand. It's probably still not a bad idea to just walk away and do what you need to do. But fighting is not worth it. It never is worth it. It's not. I've done it, and yes, those relationships failed. Other relationships, there was barely any fighting. So, but then there's no communication either, so it doesn't help. So yeah, this week I would highly recommend. You know, schools are going to start soon, I think. Um, and yes, we spent our money in December. We had a nice holiday, and now it's going to be noodles for the rest of the month or something. And there's going to be stresses. There's all kinds of stuff happening. Everybody's going to be busy, and businesses that starts their new year, it's a lot of stuff needs to be done. A lot of stuff is going to happen, and there's going to be work pressure, and there's going to be pressure from schools, and everybody's going to be under pressure. So there's going to be tense situations or tired people getting home in the afternoon. Give yourselves time, relax, try and do things to just distract yourself from all the hustle and bustle, and love your partner, love your kids. Please, it's not worth it. It gets me really angry that children are being harmed and are being taught not to love correctly, because it's just going to keep on repeating. I mean, in some cases, entire families are fighting. Long after the parents are no longer there, they're still fighting. But it carries on because the trend was set while they were still growing up. It's not worth it, people. It's really not worth it. So, I mean, I can imagine if I have it my way, I would never have another argument in my life. Not with a partner anyway. So, fighting is not. It's not nice. It's hurtful. It's not nice for you. It's not nice for your partner. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Spend time together. Positive time together. Love one another. Invest in your relationship. And by not fighting is investing in your relationship. Put your partner first. If you love them, if some things are really silly. Like I say, sometimes it's really not even important to win the fight. I mean, we're not in a competition. We're there to love our partners. So if you're going to start competing and you have to be right, some old school people would say, the husband's, you're the head of the family and all those responsibilities, and therefore you're the boss, and whatever you say goes. You equals. Nowadays women work, everybody works. So yeah, I guess there's some thoughts on that. People will differ in opinion, but I've seen that as well, and it wasn't nice for me to witness that, where the couple, the wife was just always wrong, because I can't discuss the details, but it's just because the husband said so, and because she wasn't meeting a certain standard, even though she was trying, but she's not on standard. She's this, and there's always just a complaining about the wife that's not quite where she should be. No, I don't know. You know what? So it's not the way marriage works. God didn't give you a wife so that you can boss her around and hurt her and I don't think God intends for marriage to go like it. It's I don't. There's a lot of things I don't support, and that'd be one of them. You know, we are equals in our relationships. We there's no, in some relationships, the husband is the one that stays home and raises the kids and do whatever needs to be done there. Work together. It's no need in being in control. There's no need in just be bossy, or you're an ugly person if you do that. I mean, does it really truly make you happy? And if it makes you happy, and if you feel, I can sit at the pub and everything will be honky-dory at home because Leafy is taking care of everything and so forth and so forth, what, stay at the bar. Just stay there. You don't need to go home because you don't value your family, clearly. And in some cases, guys would get drunk and go home and beat their wives, beat their children, kick the dog. And what are you? Maybe you should take some of the other guys at the bar, or maybe one or two cops with you, so they can see what you're doing, and I'm sure they'll be very happy with you. This is a woman that loves you, that has your children, that really wants the family to work, and this is how you treat the person you love. So you know what, if she leaves you, good luck. It doesn't work like that. It just does not work like that. Same with women. If your husband's there and he's supportive and he loves you and he treats you well, you've got something special. A lot of people don't have that. It's a partnership. It's not who can gain the most, or who can win the most fights, or who can be the most dominant. No. If it's like that, it's not a relationship. It's something else. It's not. I don't know what to call it. It's definitely not a relationship. Think of a relationship as a friendship. No. Yeah, sure, we had arguments and fights with our friends in school and things like that, but we get over it. Like kids also are. Kids will have a fight now, and blood will be drawn. An hour later, they're playing together again. Be like kids. Forgive, forget. Leave the nonsense. It's not worth fighting. End of story. You don't have to listen to me. Go fight with your wife. Go fight with your wife every day. Go cheat on your husband. Yeah, go do that. So that the innocent party can at least be released from that relationship ultimately, so that they can carry on and hopefully find somebody that loves them, because clearly you don't. That's a simple fact of it. So relationships is worth it. Love is worth it. And if you want love, and if you want romantic weekends, and if you want all this stuff memes are made of, then invest in it. Be that. It's not difficult. Be that. And don't blame your partner all the time. Look at yourselves. A relationship is, there's two sides to a relationship. And if you have anything to do with whatever the complaint might be, fix your side. Do your part. And once you've done your part, then you can maybe say, okay, you've done your part, you've talked, and you've done your best. And worst case, you've gone for therapy, and you really, really, really tried. And what you can say that, then you can probably say, okay, you know what, it's not worth it. But because then you're not being loved. And I see people being affected after relationships. I have been. that they struggle with their future relationships. Somebody told me a nice story this weekend. I won't repeat it here, but it is not worth being in 1,000 relationships and one day the right one will come around. No. You will have no empathy, you would have no feelings, you would have no love in your heart by the time that happens. And by the time the right person arrives, you won't even know what to do with that person. You won't know how to love that person. All you're going to be doing there is being a little tick list to see what you're going to find wrong with this one. That's all. So I feel sorry for you if that's the case. But yes, love your partners, talk, communicate, like I always say, talk about it, talk a lot. I like that. Anyway, it's another week gone. All the best for the next week. And just do your best and don't fight. It's not worth it. Don't fight.